What's going on, everybody? We've got another Monday Night Football doubleheader here. If you're new here on this channel, please hit subscribe and share with a friend. We're up 16 and a half units so far on the season through 2 weeks, but we'll add the week 3 numbers after tonight, of course. We've got 4 teams here that I really want to see more of before I am confident backing a side for any of these teams here. Obviously, we've got the Bucks, who surprisingly are 2-0. Nobody had them being 2-0. Baker is playing some really good football right now, quarterback in that team, but their combined opponents' record is 0-6. They played the Bears and the Vikings, both of which are 0-3. So is it really that impressive? I'd like to see them do more of the same in a game like tonight against a premier contender before I start backing them in any of these games here. But they are at home here against the Eagles. But the Eagles offense, they have been struggling. They have not looked like the Eagles team from last season, but they're one of those teams that doesn't really need to necessarily worry about the regular season, especially not in September. They're playing for January at this point. They've been they're that caliber of team. They're up there with like the Chiefs, where September really doesn't matter to them. And despite them not looking the same, not looking up to par from what we expected from them, they are still 2-0. So nothing really to worry about there. The Bengals, on the other hand, they coming into the season would have been one of those teams that we would think of that don't really need to worry about games in September. However, they have gotten themselves into a trap here. They are 0-2, and it's pretty much a must-win game for them. And I think that's why Joe Burrow is going to play through this calf injury. We'll see how long he lasts. Not too confident taking them, obviously, because he could go down at any point. And then on the Rams side, I mean, that's another team I do want to see more of, because I expected pretty much nothing from them this season, but they've played pretty well. So I want to see them continue. Is it fluky, or can they really sustain this throughout an entire season? Not confident backing them, because if Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense finally starts playing lights out, then they could definitely win this game here. But I do have some player props I want to look at. But on the Rams side, yeah, I mean they've just they made the Seahawks offense look non-existent, made them look horrible, and now they're 2-1, the Seahawks. So I mean, Rams pretty good. They had a competitive game against the 49ers as well, who, after the Cowboys lost that game last night to the Cardinals, the 49ers are probably the best team in football right now. So, yeah, I do want to attack some props. I don't really love any of these sides here. We've got the Eagles -5.5 at the Buccaneers, over under 44.5. Now, in this game, the Eagles, their bread and butter has been the running game, but the Bucs defense comes in pretty hot too. So the Eagles offense, they're first in rush attempts this year, second in rushing yards, and fifth in rushing yards per attempt. However, the Bucs defense, they're third in rush attempts allowed against them, because teams aren't trying to run the ball against them, obviously, because they're fourth in rushing yards allowed and fifth in rushing yards allowed per attempt. So this is going to be the matchup that we're looking at. And the Eagles offense, they've been bottom of the league in the passing game, but we know that what they're capable of in the Eagles passing game. So this would be the perfect game to start attacking that. So I'm looking at A.J. Brown. I'm looking at Jalen Hurts. The Bucs defense, 23rd in passing yards allowed so far this season, 24th in yards per completion, and they've allowed the 21st best completion percentage to quarterbacks that they've been playing against. And Jalen Hurts, that's his bread and butter also, having a really high completion percentage. Right now, he's 7th in the league in that category. So I think this is a game where the Eagles, if they can't run against that Bucs rushing defense, they start to finally look to the passing game. A.J. Brown maybe finally gets free and does something for my fantasy team. I need him to drop 40 points for me in fantasy to win in one of my leagues right now. So hopefully I'm right about that. And then you flip it to the other side, tight ends versus the Eagles. You've got Hunter Henry. He had 5 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown in week 1. Mike Gesicki in the same game also had 3 catches and 36 yards. So they had 2 tight ends go over Cade Otton's number. TJ Hawkinson, we bet on him last week on Thursday Night Football against the Eagles. He had 7 catches for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns against them. So I'm looking at Cade Otton as well. I think that's another good spot. This year, he had 2 catches for 19 yards in the first game, but last week he had 6 catches for 41 yards. He's becoming one of Baker's favorite targets, hopefully. So I do like all of those guys going into today. However, I don't really like the prices that the books have set. You got Jalen Hurts over under 235.5 passing yards. Now, I think he's going to get up there, just not entirely confident. Like I said, this is 4 teams here where I want to see more of before I'm really confident putting a bet down on them. A.J. Brown over under 73.5 receiving yards. Not sure, but I think he's going to have a day. And then Cade Otton over under 27.5 receiving yards. I'm going to just I would take that straight, honestly, but I'm not going to. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to parlay all of these as well as two props that I like from the Rams and Bengals game. Not much I really want to say about the Rams and Bengals game here. I like Joe Mixon to have a day. Well, here, let me give you guys the odds first. So it's Rams +3 at the Bengals, over-under set at 45 points. I like Joe Mixon to be involved just because of that Joe Burrow injury. We don't know how effective Joe Burrow is going to be. I think they might try their best to lean on the run game if they can. So I like Mixon to get involved. And then I also like Kyren Williams to be involved on the Rams side. Now, the reason I have Kyren Williams involved on the Rams side, it's pretty obvious. The Bengals have allowed 192 rushing yards per game so far this season. Nick Chubb went for 127 total yards rushing and receiving. The Bengals, they're 31st in rushing yards allowed, 27th in yards per run allowed. And Kyren Williams, man, he played over 90% of the snaps last week after they got rid of Cam Akers. He got 100 yards receiving and rushing, 6 catches on 10 targets. He had 14 carries. He was the only running back to take a carry for the Rams. So obviously, I think he's going to be involved. I think the Rams are going to try to attack this weak Cincinnati rush defense. So I like going for Kyren Williams as well. Now, how I'm going to parlay all this, I'm going to tease all their numbers down a little bit, put them all together, and I think that's the best way to play this with all of the mismatches that I just gave out. This is how we're going to play it. So we've got Jalen Hurts, 200-plus passing yards. We got Cade Otton, 25-plus receiving yards. We got A.J. Brown, 50-plus receiving yards. We've got Joe Mixon for 40-plus rushing yards, and we got Kyren Williams for 40-plus rushing yards. That gets you odds of plus 368, somewhere around there. However, FanDuel is doing a Monday Night Football same game parlay plus profit boost. So we're going to use that, and that's going to bring us all the way up to plus 552. And we're going to put 1 unit on that. That's going to be my play of the day. That's how I'm playing this Monday Night Football doubleheader. Like I said a couple times already in this show, I don't really feel confident backing any sides. And these player props, they're just a little too up in the air for the higher numbers that the books are giving me here. Joe Mixon is set at over under 63.5 rushing yards. Kyren Williams set at over under 59.5 rushing yards. So because of that, I'm going to tease him down like I just showed you in that parlay. However, Kyren Williams is one that I am super confident in. That's the one that I would take if you don't want to parlay any of these. If you want to just take one straight, Kyren Williams, go for his rushing and receiving. I'm actually going to play that as well. So we have 1 unit on the parlay, and then we also have 1 unit at Kyren Williams over under 86.5 rushing plus receiving yards. It's at minus 114. So that's one that I think he's going to get. Like I said, he got 100 rushing and receiving yards combined last week, and he played over 90% of the snaps. No other Rams running back took a snap in that game. They got a couple runs to receivers and things like that, but he's going to be the pivotal point of this offense. And if the pass rush from Cincinnati is getting to Matt Stafford at all, he's going to start dropping off. If Joe Burrow and the offense finally figure it out in Cincinnati and they get a lead on the Rams, it's still going to be one of Matt Stafford's favorite targets. So that's why I like the rushing and receiving rather than just the rushing yards. He's gotten 52 rushing yards in both games so far, I believe, off the top of my head, and his number set it over under 59.5. So I think he could hit this 86.5 using the receiving, maybe 40, 50 yards from receiving, maybe another 50 yards on the ground. But like I said, the Bengals rush defense has been horrible, so I could definitely see him running for 100 yards. Either way, that bet hits. Hopefully he gets at least 40 on the ground in that bet so that the parlay can hit as well. That's all I've got for these games. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, if you guys like any really big really nice bets, if you like any big mismatches that you guys see, and maybe I'll add some plays, but really just risking 2 units here. Again, these are 4 teams that I really want to see more of before I start throwing some bankroll at them or any of their player props, just because I want to see how these how these teams play in a game like this in crucial situations here. Like I said, the Bucs haven't played any competition yet. This is a really good game for the Eagles. I want to see the Eagles perform in primetime. They haven't really done it much with Jalen Hurts. They're like 1-4 on Monday Night Football with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. So not confident in them, but I'm still not confident in the Bucs to cover or win that game either. So I'm staying away there. And then the Rams and Bengals, we got to see something out of the Bengals. It's like do or die for their season right now, but I'm not willing to bet on them with Joe Burrow being all shaken up as he is. And then the Rams, if they're able to sustain how they've been playing lately, then, maybe we got to start thinking about backing them in the future. But it's not going to be tonight. But with that being said, hopefully this parlay hits. Kyren Williams is going to get those yards for us unless he gets hurt or something like that. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it. And other than that, we'll catch you guys on Thursday for Thursday Night Football, as well as more of the games throughout Week 4. Best of luck betting tonight and the rest of the week. We'll see you guys Thursday. Peace.